Ugh, ads are such poop. Subscribe to Acast Plus now to skip ads and more for just $1 a month. Click the link in our show notes to learn how. And hey, we're on Patreon too. Your support helps cover the cost of running a podcast. For $2 a month, you can get early access to all our episodes ad-free, plus bonus episodes exclusive to Patreon subscribers only. Visit patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse to sign up now.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hey friends, it's me, Sharon McMahon, host of Here's Where It Gets Interesting. And we've been working hard on a new documentary series called Resilience that explores the incarceration of Japanese Americans in the United States during World War II. So join me as I talk with experts and share firsthand accounts that detail the resilience shown by 120,000 Japanese Americans who endured wartime imprisonment right here in America. And on October 24th, we'll conclude our series with a special episode. Actor George Takei sits down with me to talk about his family's experience behind the barbed wire fences of an incarceration camp. Don't miss it, because here's where it gets interesting.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what today is?
It's Saturday.
It sure as fuck is.
And what's on Saturday?
Q&A Saturday.
That's right.
It is right.
And what are we covering today?
Today we are covering a couple of just nonsense.
Wait.
What?
So it's chapters.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Chapters 26 through 30 of 2nd Chronicles.
Okay. All right. And then what in those chapters are those couple of things that we're covering?
Well, there were a few guys we wanted to look up. But there wasn't a lot on them. So instead, I just found a few various kind of things and whatnots.
Various kind of things and whatnot, say.
Well, okay, so one is a vague rabbit hole.
Okay.
It was an interesting fact that I found.
Yeah.
And another is we had a question about some word choices.
Okay. Well, let's get ahead and get on into this. Wow. My brain is having a meltdown right now.
It's true.
And I need to slow down.
You do.
Because shit.
Because shit. Indeed, sir. All right, let's go do this.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so remember I said that there were some guys?
Yeah, guys.
And we had questions about them. One of them... Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, stop.
I'm being annoying, sorry.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of them was Obed the seer, and he was the guy that was like, hey, you took these people captive and you should let them go, and that's not nice, and
oh yeah, the guy that was talking to the Israelites.
Yeah.
Like, not the Judah
back.
people, but the Israel group.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, let's look him up and see, what he about.
Right. Why is all of Israel listening to this one dude about God?
You know who he was?
Who was he? Nobody?
The guy that did that.
The guy.
That's it. That's all you get.
That's boring.
I know.
Oh, okay.
There was a couple other
some
guys.
dude just yelled at Israel.
Yeah.
Hey, Israel.
Yep.
Listen up.
And they did.
I'm nobody, but listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There were a couple of other guys, similar results. Just they were the guys.
You've looked that up before, and like they just sprinkle in prophets here and there, and they aren't really anybody. They're just like
there's no background on them.
It's just so God can yell at a certain group of people or a person or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I didn't have a lot of solid Q&A pertaining to these chapters, and these are just general things.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of difficult for our Q&As right now just because we're recovering stuff that's already been covered.
Right, exactly.
So that makes this a little bit more difficult on us right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is.
It is what it is, but I did find this really interesting commentary that talked about, okay, so remember how they were turning their back on God, right?
Yeah.
There's somebody who said that the idea that they were turning their back on God could also be understood to be literal, not just metaphorical.
Okay.
Because according to 2 Kings, remember when Ahaz, the altar was moved and they replaced the altars and all that? Like they were doing bad stuff, right?
Only kind of.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Ahaz was a bad king and he had his people doing bad stuff.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when they moved the altars, they moved them to the east in the manner of pagan altars instead of toward the west as per God's commands.
Oh.
So that way it was understood that they literally had to turn their back to the temple and the Ark of God to stand before the altar.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting. Like,
yeah. I guess
okay.
I guess maybe, but it seemed. Why would you make that a metaphor instead of just like? Why would you say that they're turning their backs instead of just saying that they turned the altar and now they like? It just takes one extra step, you know.
Well, it was basically. It's not that he's saying.
I guess it could have been lost in translation too.
That, but he's saying that. It's interesting that yes, they metaphorically turn their backs on God. Like,
right.
You know, you turn your back on lots of things, right?
Sure.
But in this case, they were also doing it very literally. So it's not that they weren't turning their backs metaphorically. They were.
Right.
It's just that, but they were also doing it literally.
Well, I'd like to point out that this literal turning your back on God thing was done by the fucking king yet again.
Right.
And the people ended up ultimately paying a price for that. For the king's actions.
Yes.
Not their actions necessarily. They keep getting blamed for being bad.
Right.
But they're following their king, who is, generally going to be the person that is going to punish them and make the laws and rules.
Right.
So.
And the king is like, we are going to pray to God over here instead of over there, and the people are like, oh, okay.
What are they going to do? Go in there and change it around? Like, that guarantees you're going to die.
Right.
Because your king did that.
And let us point out, they're probably only going in to pray in the first place because they have to.
I mean, sure. Partly. Many people do it because they have to, even today.
Right.
For social reasons or what have you.
Right.
But there might be some that truly believed. I don't want to say that there wasn't because it's a belief that has lasted through millennia.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know how churches today are set up, but everybody who goes into a church, are they like paying attention to whether or not their altar thingy that their priest guy at the front of the room is talking to them? Are they paying attention to whether that altar is at the east or the west? No.
I don't know. You always have your person that checks the length of the grass, right? So I bet
okay. There's always that, but I'm talking about the people in general,
right?
Not the fucking nosy ass busybody,
right?
Okay,
right,
yeah. So these people, they're probably just going into the church to do their thing,
right? Yep.
So that was that.
That
was that one thing that I found.
All right.
Okay. Here's the other thing, and I had some thoughts about it. We had questions about the difference between the words declaration and proclamation.
Yes, we did.
Because they are very similar.
They are.
It turns out, really are.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you some definitions and some examples, and then some food for thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So a declaration is like an oral public statement, and it's often legalistic. Examples would include the Declaration of Independence, a declaration of war, a declaration of items before you board a plane.
But
right?
you could also say, I do declare.
Yeah, you can. Yes, I do declare. Yeah, because it's an oral public statement.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. A proclamation is a type of declaration.
Okay.
Okay. It's a formal public announcement or assertion, and it often comes from a head of a department or a head of state, a country, something like that. It's an assertion. Okay. And it's often done via a publication, and it's usually a non-binding notice. And examples given are an announcement of the intention to marry. Like when you send out your save the date.
Sure.
That's basically a proclamation. Okay.
Yep.
Now, here are two really, really big uses of each of the terms, and I'm going to give you some food for thought that they are being done exactly opposite of how they should be. Okay?
Yep.
So for declaration, we have Declaration of Independence.
Yep.
And for proclamation, we have the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So, based on what I just told you, a declaration would be not necessarily okay, how do I want to say this? Because I had this straight in my head like 30 minutes ago before we did this. Okay, let me start over.
Okay.
So, I said that a declaration is often legalistic, right?
Sure.
The Declaration of Independence was created by a group that was not yet a legal entity.
Right.
Interesting, right?
Sure.
Now, the Emancipation Proclamation...
And you could say that they were just asserting their independence from...
It should have been a proclamation.
Right.
Opposite of that is the Emancipation Proclamation.
Which was a law.
Which was a law put forth by a legal entity.
Right.
That was a legal assertion.
Right.
That should have been a declaration.
Got it.
And that is my
so
food
you
for
found
thought.
misprints in U.S. history.
Well, I wouldn't say they're misprints. I would just say that since we are asking the difference between the two words,
sure,
and those are the most famous worldwide examples of the use of those two words.
Right.
I would propose, I would suggest, I would urge you to consider that perhaps those two should be flipped. That we should have
the proclamation
of independence, and that we should have the Declaration of Emancipation.
Yeah.
And I would...
it sounds stronger, actually, like the Declaration of Emancipation. I would like that, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's stronger.
Yeah.
So, I vote... Well, my vote would be, let's make that happen.
If Twitter wasn't such an asshole place right now, I would say do a Twitter poll,
Yeah. They wouldn't... you don't get a chance to, explain your reasoning on a Twitter poll.
It's kind of like, I was in high school biology, maybe. It might have been my first year of college biology. I don't remember. When I found out that, I can't remember if it was the alligator or the crocodile or both that were actually misfiled in the, how they do the kingdom and the phylum and all that.
Yep.
One of those categories, it's actually been found since that they were kind of mislabeled.
Sure.
And
I've heard that somewhere.
Probably from me.
Well, yeah.
But it's never been corrected because that's what we call it now.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing bothers me. How hard is it? No, let's just fix it. This is what it is now. Sorry.
Right.
Kind of like how we decided, what was that one planet that we decided it's not a planet anymore? Pluto. Yeah. I always want to call it Jupiter.
No.
I know.
Not even.
That's why I don't try anymore, because
close.
I'm like, no, I have the wrong one. Pluto. We decided collectively, we fucked that one up. It is actually not large enough or doesn't have enough mass or what the fuck ever reason. We decided it cannot actually be classified as a planet, right? Yeah. So we are capable of making these corrections to errors.
Sure.
That is evolution. That is growth. That is keeping up with new knowledge, you know? So it really bothers me that we can't talk about this.
Yeah. I bet there's a whole subreddit for it somewhere.
Oh, I bet it is.
You think?
Somebody send me that conversation. I am so about it. This is the kind of nonsense bullshit that doesn't matter to anybody else in the world, and that really, in the grand scheme of things, is completely unimportant.
Right.
But this is the kind of shit that it gets me. This is the rabbit hole I live for, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the correct labeling of items.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right.
And that's all I have
all we got?
for the Bible.
For the Bible?
Yes.
and U.S. history.
Well, I mean, I had to stretch. Well, okay. I really needed to know the difference between those two words.
No, you made that clear on the podcast the other day.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, as soon as we got off that podcast that day,
yeah,
I looked it up and I was like, oh, they're kind of the same-ish.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to take further
reading.
Research. Like, I thought it was just going to be like here's this, there's that.
Right.
But
it wasn't exactly.
No, as soon as I realized, like, oh, this is going to be a good hour for me to figure shit out, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, that was our episode here for today for
Q&A Saturday.
For chapters 26 through 30.
Of Second Chronicles. And we will be back tomorrow. We're going to bring back our book club. Sacrilegious book club.
It's been a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you'll have
the weekly replay.
Assuming you get it out on time.
At some point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That day.
That
hypothetically.
night. That evening.
I mean, come on, guys. It's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Yeah.
So if I don't get it out exactly on time, just cut me just like the slightest bit of slack, okay?
Right.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
And then on Monday we will be back with
Second Chronicles Chapter 31.
Okay, at one of these points you're gonna have to find out where it ends so that we don't accidentally say following chapter is this instead of that.
I want to say that there's like 38 or 39 chapters, so I think we got all next week before I got to figure my shit out.
Okay,
but that's like one of my tasks this weekend is to actually update our sacrilegious discourse.
Our schedule.
Yeah, our podcasting.
Yeah, because we just kind of do this fly-by-night thing where we just like, what are we doing today? Oh, yeah, okay, let's do it.
I know, and every time we finish another book of the Bible, I'm like, oh, shit, I need to update that.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for stopping by, everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow or sometime soon.
Yep.
Bye. Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.